Live, this is One for the Record. I'm Diana, and today is June 30th, 2012. It's Saturday late afternoon, and I did get the Dr. DEAGLE show for you, NUTRIMEDICAL report, Earth changes, and here you go. We'll do that for tonight, and then I'll give maybe a report afterwards, but I don't really see anything new. I'll check around while the show's playing for you. Here we go. Let me bring this over. Whoa. Should come on any second. And remember, you can go ahead and go do stuff, get ready for Sunday if you need to start doing things. Just listen to this like as if it was a radio show, okay?
Cool properly with water with our high-speed pumps, which are held together by chewing gum and baling wire. That radiation level is estimated to be 80 to 300 times more than the radiation released last year that caused over 20,000 deaths in premature nurseries, and it will induce acute and subacute radiation sickness here in the Northern Hemisphere. Now, people aren't prepared for that, but you can avoid that if you start taking a radiation protocol. As I say, get a radiation detector through SEMF, through our website, and I recommend the Inspector Plus or the Inspector EXP, and get the little digital data pack that will allow you to download it to your computer so you can have it continuously reported. Have your Nutrinat, take it every day. Take your Nutritrala. If you're traveling in the airline, take your radiation detector. You'd be surprised when you're flying if all of a sudden that spikes to really high levels. You want to slap that NIOSH N95 mask on, because those are nanoparticles, and you'll cut out 95% if you all of a sudden your detector goes from a level that's moderately high to like, oh my gosh, high. People need to be prepared for that. I've been continuing for the last 13 days now to contact Senator Wyden, and we're not making much progress. And I'm concerned that I'm not getting a response from his assistant, Mary Gautreau. The reason is I now have the Academy backing me 100%. I talked to Dr. William Ray. Dr. Ogilvie is now getting me scheduled, so I'll be doing the primary presentations for the Academy this coming October. We don't have till October. I think we're going to have massive burps, repeated burps, over years and decades of radiation from Fukushima. The government of Japan and the IAEA and the U.S. government, no other international agency is doing anything to stop this. And like Senator Dianne Feinstein and Senator Wyden discovered, this is a hazardous waste zone. This is not reactors that are in kind of shutdown. This is a hazardous waste zone that's soon going to become so radioactive that the sky shine radiation alone will kill anybody even trying to attempt to do anything, including swapping out pumps or doing anything to even service the other reactors. So if you don't protect yourself now, you're going to be very sorely surprised that not only are we getting what I call Chinese water torture with radioisotopes, but you got to preserve your mitochondria. When your mitochondria fail, well, here's what happens. Your natural killer cell activity decreases, so you start picking up infections. Your energetics of your mitochondria in your central nervous system, your heart. So if you're a preemie baby or if you're a senior citizen in heart failure, it'll push you over the edge to go into multi-system organ failure, or if you're premature, the toxic exposure, your body's enzymes aren't mature enough to be able to protect you from the radiation, and you start to end up basically dying in utero. So fetuses, for example, in the early stages of development are probably up to 10 to 100 to a billion times more sensitive to radiation than adults are. But adults will get sick too, especially if you're kind of out of your zone of compensation. You're 75 or 80, you've got multi-system organ problems, you're in heart failure, you've got multiple drugs you're taking on board, you've got signs of dementia or other problems. It's going to push you over the edge. If you want to stay young and healthy, you got to take your Nutridyne. You have to protect your mitochondria. And Nutridyne is there to protect your mitochondria, your sex and stress hormones, coat your tissues from stealth pathogens, because I predict that, and we had a report, there were some detractors that said, Dr. DEAGLE, you were a false prophet. You said that the swine flu was not so bad in 2009, and within a week I got that email. We have the report now from the Lancet that says it was 15 times worse than people thought, and up to 600,000 people died of it, and that number is probably significantly lower than the total number. I predict that after the Fukushima radiation continues to release over the next year or so, we're going to have a massive plague and return of H5N1, H1N1, a new recombinant that'll be considerably worse than people can imagine. And I'm predicting that this time, the number dead will be between 500 million and 100 million. That's what my prediction is, and it could be worse than that, but that's what I would guess. These things will spread very quickly, and you can stop it cold in its tracks, especially if you build up your immune system and your energetics or your mitochondria, because the primary measure of your mitochondria is how fast it can convert T4 to T3 and how healthy those mitochondria are, and are you building new ones. And it's totally dependent on diatomic iodine. Pretty important, isn't it, John?
It certainly is. It's something we can't live without. It's something the body was designed to have.
Yeah, the Nutridyne is right there up with what they call Nutritrala, the Cell Detox Glutathione, Regenerex, and if you take these things, you can kind of laugh this off. If you take your probiotics, it cuts the absorption of strontium and cesium. Living Probiotic and Living Probiotic Ultra. You take our organic non-acid zeolite, which stays in the GI tract, it'll pull up the heavy metal toxins along with the probiotics. If you take our Max. But you've got to realize that unless you're blocking all these other halides too in the environment, like fluoride, chloride, and bromide, xenotoxins we call xenoestrogens, all of them are extremely toxic to the mitochondria, and they actually generate, instead of T3, which just has 3 iodine molecules on the thyroid globulin protein, you got T3, but it's fluoride, or chloride, or bromide. And they don't work the same way in the mitochondria. They actually block energetics in your cells. So the key here is protect your mitochondria with diatomic Nutridyne, protect your immune system, protect your mind, and protect your cells from DNA damage. Take your Nutridyne every day. If you haven't been starting, you better start today, because we're going to get massive burps, I predict, this summer. Welcome back to the NutriMedical Report. I want to touch on some other technologies we have that we often don't get a chance to discuss. We have, of course, the Medithera, which is... Welcome back to the NutriMedical Report for Hour 3. And we have John Moore, Tim Alexander, and Morrison. John, tell us the latest what's going on. We don't have John. Okay, Ann, are you there?
Yes, I am, Dr. Bill.
So, Ann, what's the latest in terms of volcanoes, earthquakes, and, of course, atmospheric changes that are occurring, including the Fukushima-sponsored destruction of the ozone layer, which we now are causing record levels of UV index danger. And, of course, we also have record temperatures, not only record highs, but also record lows that Robert will talk about at the bottom of Hour 3.
Well, one of the impacts of the UV, the deep UV that's coming down to the surface of the Earth, is that it's increasing ground level ozone. And so we're having high pollution during these sunny days, which is not helping because we already have heat prostration and exhaustion, and then we have poor air quality too.
And by the way, it's not just ozone alone. Ozone is in this, what they call this cauldron of chemicals such as terpenes from pine trees and other shrubs, as well as other chemicals like trimethylic anhydride from diesel fuel, formaldehydes, benzene, and other compounds that are coming from diesel and car exhaust. And all these chemicals
Guys, Dr. DEAGLE and I can confirm that here in the Midwest right now, Indiana, it's 106 degrees outside. We have at least a week of 100-degree-plus days. and we of course have a air advisory. And so exactly what you're talking about here in the American Midwest is happening right now.
Now, those extreme climates, by the way, are going to cause crop failure, along with what I call UV ozone shock. The ultraviolet light from above and the ground level ozone will shock the crops, and you're going to have famine. And just like my ancient ancestor Joseph, the ancient Bible, because he is my ancestor, we will have a famine starting this year. And this fall, famine is going to strike America and the world.
Oh yeah, corn prices have already jumped tremendously. The crops in Argentina and Brazil failed, and so they're relying on the United States to provide the world with corn, especially, and we're not going to have it to give to the people.
No, I'm here in the corn belt, and I want to tell you, the corn is not looking good. It desperately needs rain. We're having a drought, and then on top of the drought, when you get 107, 106, 105 degree days, one right after the other, it can't take it.
Yeah, what happens is you just need as little as 45 minutes of a 60 to 70% drop in ozone. These high temperature days, what's called heat shock, shock the proteins and enzymes inside the growing plants. And then the ground level ozone literally suffocates them. Ozone suffocates plants. It's a very interesting thing how high level ozone can actually suffocate a plant that literally needs carbon dioxide, and it actually occupies the same site of carbon dioxide coming in the plant, which is in a sense oxygen for them. So ozone at the ground level is very toxic to plants.
Yeah, I'm measuring 109 degrees Fahrenheit here in St. Louis, and I want to remind people that their children are closer to the ground than they are, at least nose to nose, and so they need to keep their children on the second story of their house if they can, or at least as high up in the house as they can, and don't let them just walk around outside. Carry them to the car and do everything you can to avoid exposing your children to ozone.
Exactly. Tim, I can hear you're on there. We're following this very closely, what's going on in Syria. What's the latest news in terms of what's happening in Syria?
Well, I'll give you the bullet points from my site, Europe, and basically I'm telling people they live in the Middle East if they can get out now.
Well, in fact, I have a friend, Jerry Strybos, will be on next Thursday, and I think he's actually getting out of Saudi Arabia. They're going to, I think, Italy or whatever in the next couple of days. I think their war, some kind of regional war is impending. The Syrian army, is getting ready. The Turks have actually put anti-aircraft batteries on the Syrian-Turkish border, and now the Saudi Arabians. Tell us what Saudi is doing.
Yeah, okay. Troops are massing on both sides of the Syrian-Turkish border. The Syrians have moved up about 170 tanks into one area. The Turks have moved in anti-aircraft batteries. Basically, they're expanding their anti-aircraft sweep deep into Syria. We've got multiple reports of very significant troop movements all over the Middle East. Israel, as you know, about a little over a month ago, called up a large number of Army reserves, which are still in active service. They have been moving troops to their border with Syria. Of course, Turkey has been moving troops to not just anti-aircraft, but they've been moving artillery and rockets to their border with Syria. Syria has been moving troops across to its border with Turkey. Saudi Arabia is on high alert as of yesterday, and they have been moving troops to their borders with Iraq and Jordan. In the case of Iraq, they're very concerned about Iranian-led Shiite forces crossing into parts. Excuse me.
By the way, it also increases allergies too. Ground level ozone makes molecules that are floating that are causing a very bad allergy season be much more.
Oh, that's really sweet. Anyway, they're moving their troops to Jordan. Jordan is on full war alert. Russia's been moving troops to its borders with Iran and Georgia, reinforcing its troops in Armenia, and it sent all of its officer families home from the Russian bases in Armenia. Of course, America, for the last couple of months, has moved in a lot of stealth fighters. The French have moved in fighters. The British, French, war would probably break out within 1 to 2 weeks. It appears that's correct. Now, according to DEAGLE, Western and Arab military intervention is scheduled to launch tomorrow.
Well, now, it's already happened.
The knife edge between a Western Arab-Turkish military offensive in the next 48 hours, this was written probably last night, and a big power card to ward it off. Of course, there is a meeting going on right now. I doubt that that meeting will be successful. There are indications it will not. So the Saudi units are poised with tanks, missiles, special forces, and anti-air batteries to enter Jordan in two broad areas. They're going to defend the king from opposition within Jordan, and then they intend to move on into Syria through Jordan. Now, and not only that, but we have a real problem in South Caucasus. It appears that war could very quickly spread to the South Caucasus, and that includes, by the way, Armenia, Georgia, Azerbaijan, South Odessa, and so forth. These areas border Iran, Russia, and Turkey. Some of them are siding with the Western forces, some are siding with the Russians. The Russians are prepared to move into northern Iraq as soon as hostilities break out.
Yeah, but Russia's policy, there's two things that you're an expert on this, and Tim, I know you mentioned before, is the wild card of Pakistan. It's already said they're an ally of Iran, and if there's an attack in Iran, Pakistan will use its nukes in its long range. It can hit 5,000 to 6,000 miles away. And Russia's policy is the Russian bears, it does a probing advance if there's a military, and it has a devastating secondary response, which means Russia's response is, we're not coming at you with conventional weapons, we're going to nuke you first and then mop it up after.
Yeah, if they have to. I mean, what the Georgians did to South Odessa was they followed the Russian doctrine, and that is they lay a carpet of artillery and rocket fire and destroy everything, and then they move along that corridor.
Right.
And right now we are in a far worse, more dangerous situation than the U.S.
Do you feel the aches and pains of your age? The GCN Radio Network.
Pop on, you can put on the screen. Welcome back, and by the way, our panel, John Moore is joining us now, and Tim Alexander. Tim is going to be putting a report up on our live stream channel. By the way, Ann and John can also do that as well. Anytime our panelists, we have more and more experts we're going to be bringing on where even on their own, if they get an emergency report, they can just pop it up on the live stream channel, and in real time you can see it or see it in the archives within minutes. It's uploaded and ready to go. We're also going to start transferring some of the better of these reports over to the NUTRIMEDICAL Clay and Iron YouTube channel. So people will be able to watch it on their iPad, iPhone, now their Nexus 7, Google tablet, and soon the new device that Google's putting together on their television, so you can watch YouTube clips and actually see more and more of this information. John, your military experience, when you hear about these reports with DEAGLE, which we know is, of course, an arm of the Mossad, and we know that war is very, very close. In fact, it's actually closer than the death of the Archduke Ferdinand in the First World War. It's closer than the events that started up the Second World War. I think we're already into World War III. The economic phase started in 9/11. It's gearing up since 2008 with even before the Beijing Olympics. And I think right now this scheme is people just don't see it because it takes such a long time to mature.
Well, the shooting World War II began in the mid-1930s with the invasion of China by Japan and the invasion of Ethiopia by Italy and so forth. And of course, nobody called it World War II then, but clearly that's what it was.
Yeah, and that's what we have now. World War III has already started. People say, oh, it hasn't started. And it may even have what I call a hiccup or an interlude where they decide to have a peace treaty, which I expect to pop on the scene here very shortly. In fact, I think whoever is president, that peace treaty will happen before Rosh Hashanah 2013. It may be even sooner than that. But the Rosh Hashanah is the Jewish New Year. It's only a matter of weeks before the Feast of Tabernacles, and the Jews have been pushing, and even recently Mr. Putin visited Israel just last week or so, and went to the temple saying he was returning to Israel to pray for the return of Messiah. So he's a very devout Greek Orthodox Christian, and Mr. Putin is also a nationalist, and he very much believes that Russia has a major part to play, just like Alexander the first Tsar of Russia. And I believe that we're going to be seeing that. We're going to see Russia play a major role in the end-time events that are happening here. Russia's getting ready to say niet to the advances of NATO, and the Turkish response. What do you think will happen, John, in the next few months?
Well, Russia's not known to make idle threats. That's just not who they are. It's not what they do. And generally, if they say something, they're going to back it up with something tangible. So the things they're saying about what happens if we attack Iran, what happens if Syria's attacked, those are very real responses that will be backed up by military hardware and military might. It's foolish to believe otherwise. That's just not who these people are. They're not known for flippant or casual comments when it comes to matters like this.
And by the way, people are worried about going to the airport and they have gels, and they're worried about exploding sneakers, they check your shoes off and so on.
Right.
If we start an attack on Iran and Syria, they're going to bring the war to us. And what they're going to do is release biological weapons in U.S., European, Canadian, and other cities in the West. And that's going to happen within weeks or days of any kind of serious attack against these countries. It's extremely unwise to do this because these are the most advanced they have an entire city advancing biological weapons research in Russia. And people were really shocked. The most advanced biological weapons protection suit is Russian. The most advanced biological weapons for decades are Russian. And the Russians have the most portable advanced scalar weapons. We have scalar weapons, but the most portable scalar weapons are Russian. The most advanced jet now that's more, if you want to call operationally fit for combat is the new Russian jet for combat. It's not the Joint Strike Fighter, the F-35 or the F-22 Raptor. It's the Russian jet. And they're not only building in Russia, they're building the same jets in China under contract. So people need to really start to kind of reevaluate where this is all going. It's going toward a global cataclysm, and I believe that we're going to see it trumped because I'm getting more and more reports now that the South Pole Telescope and even a Brazilian scientist are now openly saying that he can see the reproach of the nemesis, which is called the ancient dwarf star called the Passover star, Herculebus. There's all kinds of names for him. The destroyer is returning to our solar system, which he did at the time of the fall of the Second Kingdom. And a lot of people are asking, when is it coming? Well, it's here. It's just a matter that it takes years to pass. And when it passes, the main thing it does is what's called a kill shot, which is a coronal mass ejection that can strike the Earth or come within the distance of the Earth. These changes in gravitational effects and can also trigger off major earthquakes and volcanoes. And they can also strip off the ozone layer of the Earth temporarily, shocking our crops and causing famine and exposing the ground level to cosmic background radiation, X-rays, etc., and high-level ultraviolet light. So it may be very dangerous to even go during the daytime when this happens. So when it happens, I don't know. But I know that we're getting close because I've been sent more photos and information just today on this. Any comments you have, John?
Well, we've known for a number of years. I've been at this now since 2001. This is my 11th year looking into these matters. We've known for basically all this time that at some point, amateur and professional astronomers in southern hemisphere would start seeing this object. Well, we're at that point, apparently.
Yeah. What I was told is it was going to be last summer, which is 2011, it would be evident, and it was. I was getting reports from various scientists that it was being seen. Now we have more reports of even YouTube. I'm going to post up a YouTube here, a clip. We have other reports that I'm going to post up today. This is the Passover star. This is the star that the ancient astronomers knew about. That knowledge was passed on to Moses, who was trained to become the new Pharaoh. He had all the training by the high priests and had all this ancient knowledge. So when he was in the deserts of Midian, which, by the way, Midian deserts is down in southern Saudi Arabia between in the capital area, the area around in Saudi Arabia of the sacred cities. That's where Moses was. They think he was somewhere else. No, he was in the southern Saudi Arabia. That's where Moses spent his time in the desert. Oh, interesting, eh?
It is extremely interesting. The Bible being proved accurate once again and all over again.
So, John, any other comments?
Well, I think that people need to incorporate what we're talking about and verify it independently to their own satisfaction. And then they have decisions to make. And doing nothing is a decision in and of itself. Decisions that hopefully will lead to a safe haven for them and their loved ones, and a plan for them to get through these hard times which are nigh upon us.
Yeah, I think
don't have a plan, you're going to be a refugee, and you really, really don't want to be a refugee.
Yeah, one of the things that I've just done recently, and I've been searching through, and I found this is what I've done personally. Number one, you want to have a greenhouse because you may not be able to buy food that's safe and non-radioactive. Number two, you want food supplies. We got PrepareWise. You want to take the recommendations that John and I and Anna put together over the last 3 years. It's up under the preparedness list, under their wellness conditions, and go to visit John and Ann's websites. John's website is thelibertyman.com, thelibertyman.com, and his show is 7 to 9 a.m. Monday to Friday, Central Standard Time. Ann's site is homeland-defense for you, homeland-defense 4u.com. When we come back, you better get ready, as I say, get your food, water, your self-protection ready.
Are you still a traditional smoker? Now
It's a review for people that haven't prepared. One of the latest things I did was, by the way, get a water recovery system for my roof. And you can get tanks. I got a 500-gallon tank for one side of the house in the pool, and I got a 2,500-gallon tank, which I can expand another 25 for 5,000 gallons for my front yard, my greenhouse, and fruit trees, etc. You need to be ready for this. In Australia, actually, it's the law. You can't build a house in Australia unless you have a roof recovery water system. And a lot of the parts for the system here that they've installed in Southern California are actually made in Australia. So, yeah, really interesting. I think that with the drought coming, water recovery systems should be, in a sense, like, not the law, but it should be like, give special tax breaks. Like, you need to put this on your house because the water levels on the Colorado River are dropping dramatically in Colorado. The water levels in the Himalayas are dropping 1/3. And it's because of increased glacier formation and extreme temperatures. We're seeing drought in areas and increasing size of glaciers where the snow is locking the snowpack up high in the mountains. So we have a combination of extreme cold and heat, both of them very deadly. So let's go through the list, John. You know, your list, and we can expand on that.
Well, I got kind of caught off guard here, and I'm not sure I got my list all that handy.
Okay, well, I'll tell you what, you dig it up. Robert, are you there?
I'm here.
Oh, good. Okay. While you're digging up your list, and I will pull up the wellness list on my end, Robert, give us an update on what's happening with the world in terms of volcanoes, earthquakes, ice ages, etc., and extreme weather. We've got extreme heat and cold and drought. And we have all kinds of not only high temperature records set recently, but also low temperature records, which people may or may not be aware of.
Right. You know, just this week, the mainstream media has come out saying they're talking about 1,000 record high temperatures in the United States during the last week. Now, I said week. And so I just posted something on my website today because they didn't bother to mention this, but the massive number of record low temperatures just on June 27th. Something like, well, more than 100. I didn't even count them, but well over 100 record low temperatures just on that one day on June 27th. So, you know, we're getting a lopsided picture of what's going on.
Oh, yeah, we've had really unusual temperatures here, too. I mean, at times, believe it or not, on the coast here in California, this morning it was down to 60 degrees, which is really unusual. Now, it's going to get into the high 70s and 80s, but we've had the coldest spring on record here in many, many years in Southern California. I know the people in the Midwest where they're baking at over 100, 105, 110 degrees, but there's record lows in other places at the same time. It's really bizarre.
Well, I just posted another thing on my website a couple of hours ago. In Sweden, this has been one of its coldest and wettest Junes since, get this, since 1786.
Wow.
Now that's the high. It's their records, maybe even longer, but that's when their records began. But here is the darndest thing: is that the Swedish Meteorological and Hydrological Institute, I love this, they said that Sweden's climate has become both warmer and rainier because of global warming.
Yeah. Now, another area that you're supposed to...
It is the coldest it's been,
right.
in more than 100 years, almost 100 years, and it's the wettest it's been since 1786, and they're blaming it on global warming.
Yeah, well, that's not really happening. We're having global climate extremes would be a better term, because we have hot and cold. The other thing is the top story you have here is the deformation of the entire El Hierro Island in the Canary Islands, the Azores. This is really dangerous. If this island breaks off, the tsunami will be 600 to 800 feet high, striking the east coast of the United States, Europe, France, Britain. That wall of water could wash as far in as 100 miles inland.
Well, I wonder, is it going to break off, or is it just going to blow up? I don't know.
Well, either way, it'll be a giant super tsunami, and we know that these tsunamis have happened from the Azores in previous geological history. Do you have any information on it, John? Because I have a little bit on this.
Well, there is a record of this happening in the Canary Islands, and the swarm of earthquakes continues to be a matter of great concern. People on the East Coast need to educate themselves, be aware of this, because any warning that comes, if it's supposed to break loose, I'm not sure the warning would be in time to have any effective evacuation. Basically 8 hours for this wave to cross the ocean.
Yeah, if it started at night, for example, because of the movement of the sun as it rises in the east, if you had a warning, let's say, at 2 in the morning, and it was going to arrive on the East Coast at 10 a.m., and they got that notice at 8 o'clock when they get out of bed, they don't have 2 hours to get out, and all the freeways will get jammed. And if you're roughly 100 miles inland or above 1,500 feet elevation, you're likely going to get inundated, because this will be a surge. It'll keep pushing the water in, and all the debris will act as a plow, cutting down and chopping, just like the tsunami in Indonesia. Only this will be somewhere around 8 to 10 times higher, and with the energy levels around 100,000 times more energy, traveling as much as not 5 miles in, like those tsunami in Japan and Sendai, but 100 miles in.
Right. Well, you're talking about the area where tens of millions of people live, work, shop, basically the infrastructure that supports the lives of all these people, and the people themselves.
Yeah, what I've heard it estimated is that in the path of this danger zone is around 115 million Americans alone, not including Canadians, Brits, people in Europe as well. So we're talking about somewhere around 200 to 300 million people are in extreme danger if this breaks off.
Absolutely. So it's a clear and present danger. People need to be aware of this, educate themselves, and take appropriate measures.
The other, of course, you mentioned the Yellowstone geysers being more active, and what about other things happening? And one of the things that's been going on, too, is you mentioned this last time we were on, Robert, is that a lot of people see the drop in the water levels in the Ganges River and the rivers coming off the Himalayan mountains. They don't realize it's being locked up in the glaciers in the Alps. And, of course, in other areas of the world is also drought as well. So we have increased heat in some areas, but we also have increased lower low temperatures that are locking the precipitation, whatever it is, in these glaciers high up in the Alps. So all over the world, the glaciers, 80% of them are increasing, 10% are staying the same, and 10% are decreasing. But most of the glaciers in the world are not decreasing. They're actually increasing, aren't they?
Oh, yeah, I don't know where it is. I put this one on my website a few days ago, but it turns out, I'm going to look for it, because it turns out that the glaciers in Antarctica, which we've been told that they're melting like crazy, and I just found it the title of this article, if anybody wants to look it up, oops, Antarctic ice shelves not disappearing after all. Now, this was the United Kingdom Register that tells it like it is. They said the Antarctic ice shelves not melting at all, and that's their headline. I call that a good, honest headline. And yet, Science Daily had their article, Elephant Seals Help Uncover Slower Than Expected Antarctic Melting. Well, slower than expected is not quite the same as not melting at all, but that's what it is not melting at all. They had these elephant seals that they were able to attach sensors to, and the elephant seals were able to swim under the ice in Antarctica on the, I think it's the Thimble ice sheet. Anyway, they were able to swim under there, and they actually remained there for several months, just playing and living there. And when they read all these sensors, it turns out that the ice sheet is not melting the way they thought it was from underneath, and the snow is still falling on it from the top. So what they finally said, that this indicates that the shelf is neither losing nor gaining mass, because ice buildup from snowfall has kept up with the race of mass loss. And that, and it turns out all of this stuff that they've been talking about with the melting ice in Antarctica, I didn't realize this, all of it was based on computer models. They had not taken one single measurement.
Nope. Welcome back. I want to go through a little bit of that list and get John to help us here. That list that popped up, it's up on the preparedness under P. The first one, of course, is you get a water filter. We have the BEV 100 system, BEV 200, BEV 200 system, which is the emergency tackle box system with a 12-volt pump. This is the system that will pull all the radioisotopes, all the toxins. You can take a rain puddle from Fukushima and turn it into cleaner than distilled water. That's how amazing this is.
Well, number 2 on the list, Dr. Bill, is at least one .30 caliber rifle and 500 rounds of ammunition for each adult. Maybe 2 2.3s for the smaller stature people. Number 3, cast iron and cook pots and skillets. They'll last several lifetimes if properly cared for. Number 4, a truck or a van, something that can carry a lot of people, equipment, and supplies, preferably diesel for a number of reasons. Number 5, at least one heavy canvas tent or heavy canvas tarpaulin for emergency shelter for yourself or for unexpected guests. Number 6, 900 pounds of grain per person per year. I recommend at least a 2-year supply. It properly stores the weevils and bugs can't get at it. Number 7, a comprehensive medical kit. Of course, the training to go with it so you can save some lives if it comes down to it with emergency medical treatment. Number 8, kind of generically, heavy leather high-top boots. Get your boots and hats and gloves where the farmers and the construction workers shop. Lightweight recreational gear sold at sporting goods stores will not stand up. You need the heavy stuff that the farmers and construction workers wear. Number 9, vacuum packed heritage garden seeds. You need to get those skills. Learn how to grow a garden and harvest those fruits and vegetables. Number 10, a book of titled Dare to Prepare by Holly Deyo, D-E-Y-O. It's one of the excellent encyclopedia-type books on preparedness. Number 11, the paratrooper bicycle available at my website. This is the same folding bicycle used in Afghanistan by our troops. It's the only full-size folding mountain bike. Number 12, a hand crank AM/FM shortwave and or weather band radio, so you can always keep abreast of what's going on with a hand crank radio. And last but not least, a radiation detector with gamma ray spectrometer, so you can keep track of the radiation in your neighborhood.
Yeah, and by the way, they have the what's called the now in Japan they sell cell phones with radiation. The ones I recommend are on our website, LessCMS, that has the Inspector EXP and the Inspector Plus, and you can also get an attachment to actually download it on your computer. A couple of other things, we recommend the PrepareWise dehydrated and freeze-dried foods. You want to make sure you're ready for chemical, biological weapons. We have a radiation kit and a biological weapons kit called the First Line of Defense Kit. I strongly recommend everybody gets a greenhouse or at least the material to build one. one. If you have 100 mil poly and deck screws and the materials to do that, hydroponics is a good way. I found the best solution at this point in time for power is to, and I'm expanding this further, is to get a Generac 20 kilowatt to 48 kilowatt generator on propane or natural gas, better propane. Have also either solar or wind and get a power controller, and found a source now for the lithium pyrophosphate batteries, which are much better than the deep cycle other types of batteries. And that way you can run on, the power controller will determine if you need to just draw from your batteries, if it needs to kick on your generator from propane, or you're just going to be drawing live from your solar panels. You want to be able to recover water. I would strongly recommend roof water collection. If you do have a possibility of a well, you want to also have a storage tank system set up for that. And you need to have, besides the 30 caliber guns, I strongly recommend people get shotguns, 12 and 20 gauge shotguns, at least have 500 rounds per person. And the Castle Defense System from Greg Evenson is a really good system. He has DVDs and videos on that. I recommend also that people get a solar oven so that they can cook with that if necessary. And there's the top 37 items, and I've added these 37 items here, or 25 items that are I strongly recommend people get. And if they look at that long list, these are things that are, if there ever is a disaster, they're going to disappear almost immediately from store shelves. And you want to have those kind of stockpiled in your pantry. So
absolutely, I do. And it's better to be a year too early than one day too late.
Yeah, exactly. And it's a work in progress. You're always working on it, always trying to help. And then as other people visit and say, "Oh, what do you get there?" "Oh, I got a 20 kilowatt generator. I got backup power. I got a roof water recovery system." "Well, why do you use that? There's a water tank over there." I said, that water. Most people don't realize that 18% of the power in California is used to pump the water over the Tehachapi Mountains, or it's from the Colorado River that could easily be shut off by a giant earthquake. You need to have water recovery. If you don't have water security, you're dead.
Absolutely.
80 dead very quickly within 3 to 4 days. In fact, that's called the Liverpool pathway, where they just decide to not give you water anymore. That will kill you in 4 days.
All right. Well, the first drink you take of bad water is a one-way ticket to diarrhea, dehydration, death.
Yeah, exactly. You go into cardiogenic shock and you're dead. The worst way to die, by the way, is dehydration and starvation. The second worst way is suffocation, and the third worst way is pain. So believe it or not, the worst way to die is dehydration and starvation. Interesting, eh?
It is.
Your tissues are literally burning your tissues up. And any suggestions in terms of civil defense, what people need to do is there is a massive radiation release, because I'm predicting several things, and I don't know when they'll happen, but I predict the first major burp, whether it's reported or not, will be this summer from Fukushima. We'll have numerous burps. Some of them will be even worse than this first one, but I expect the next major one will be a big burp of radiation. And people need to be prepared with their first-line defense kit, civil defense. They should have things like be prepared to have plastic things in their shoes, be able to have raincoats and other things to protect themselves, and also have a filter on their house. I recommend a HEPA filter and NIOSH N95 masks if you go out if there's a radiation alert. I've tried to contact Senator Wyden repeatedly that we need to collect data from at least 100 commercial flights per day that cross the Pacific Ocean or around America and Canada. That data we need to tell us where the plume is and how fast it's moving and how high the radiation is. Let's say it's 30,000 becquerels per cubic meter, where background is normally, let's say, 20 becquerels per cubic meter, and you fly a jet aircraft at some 26 to 30,000 feet through that. They suck in the air and concentrate inside the cabin. You're going to get a massive radiation exposure just by flying through that cloud for maybe 5 or 10 or 20 minutes. And people need to be aware that they're in that danger right now. And I'm trying to find out whether or not, my suspicion is they don't have bad dry cleaning, but the airline stewards and stewardesses from Alaska Airlines flew through radiation plumes from Fukushima caused by repeated burps of radiation that came from the Daiichi plant.
Dr. Bill, what's the reason for the plastic in the shoes?
You want to be able to not get your feet contaminated if you leave your shoes outside, because you don't want to bring them in the house because of bringing in radioactive dust. So you want to have the plastics around your shoes and inside the shoe when you put your feet in, so that the shoes, if they're left outside, will not be you will not be carrying in particles on your socks into the house.
Okay, makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, you want to have.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, you want to have indoor clothes and outdoor clothes. When you come home, you want to remove all your outer clothing. You probably want to set up an alcove at your entrance.
Almost like you're kind of like a mechanic. You take off your overalls, you leave all your stuff out in this outside porch or a decon area, and you leave all the things out there. And you can even test periodically to see how radioactive it is. But people need to be prepared to start kind of thinking this way.
Well, you know, regardless of whether there's the radiation or not, that list that John just gave us, that sounds very good to me. You know, if we're going into an ice age, because I think that as we head into an ice age, we're going to be having people moving south and trying to move into. You know, there's going to be too many people trying to move into too small an area. Well, so I think you're going to need that grain. I think you're going to need that ammunition. I think you're going to need all of those things that he's talking about. Leaving out the radiation part, you're still going to need that stuff, is my recommendation.
Robert, the last ice sheet, I think, was south of what town in Washington State, but then it dips down to the Midwest. It was actually just north of St. Louis. And it goes back up north where it sort of heads up back from the Midwest further north. But a good part of the northern United States and all of Canada was covered by a giant ice sheet. And people think, well, that can't happen. Well, yes, it can. It will happen, and it may happen over as little as 3 to 20 years, where the snow just doesn't go away and the snowpack continues, and you don't have rail or road traffic at all.
Well, just look at the last week in Duluth. They had 10 inches of rain in one day, and Duluth is in the area where they did have that snow. That 10 inches of rain, if that had been in the wintertime, would have been 100 inches of snow, 8 feet of snow in one day.
Well, you can see the signs of the ice age actually around Duluth. You can see it around Nova Scotia. You can see it around Maine. Giant boulders of the size of buildings left there by the ice sheet. It's amazing. Any suggestions, John and Ann? We have some crazy things going on. We have Obamacare. I call it the abomination care. Hog-tie the country with paperwork, stifle innovation, increase the costs for drugs and medical care, ruin medicine altogether, and bankrupt the country. We can have better solutions than this. Let's hope our next government will nullify this, because John Roberts is going to have some kind of Hulu or brain-consuming disease to pass this.
Well, we're back. Here we go. Put this back up here. And that was the Dr. DEAGLE NUTRIMEDICAL report from Friday, yesterday afternoon. Now, I'll go in and check the E&E News. I can do that for you real quick. Max is talking about it right now. What a dog. Wow. Max, here, let me see if I can get him on camera for a minute. There he is. We'll pretend we're ignoring him. There he is. Max, what you doing? Max, what are you doing? Are you doing something back there? See, I'm not looking at him, so he thinks I can't see what he's doing. Are you doing something, Max? You're a good boy. Oh, Tippy. Oh, you're good too. And then big boys. Max, what are you doing? He's trying to get big boy's attention. That's up there. He's joking around below him. What you doing, Max? You trying to get the kitty to look at you? He used to do that and say Oreo, Oreo. It's not Oreo, Oreo. He used to joke around like that underneath Oreo. He's trying to get the cat's attention. Max. Max. What you doing, honey? Oh, now you're itching. Alright. We just went for a walk during our show. Alright. Now, Let me see if I can get onto E&E News. That's enough of Max for right now. We'll check that one out. And we'll see if we see anything on El Hero also. Let's do one more. We'll go into the Extinction Protocol 2012 and beyond. Here we go. Hopefully you guys got some work done instead of just staring at the screen. You know, when I close it, it starts jumping around like crazy. It makes it look all weird on the screen. Alright, let's see. How many days left to December 21st, 2012? Let's look at that real quick. Alright. And Mel Gibson is a believer. So is Jam Imp, Darren Dalton. Celebrity believers. Montel Williams. Jane Ann Garofalo, Mark Thompson, Cannabis, Smashing Pumpkins, Shirley MacLaine, Lil Wayne, Joe Rogan, Jesse Ventura, Woody Harrelson, Dan Aykroyd, George Lucas, Ashton Kutcher, and Ellen Page, and Britney Spears, oh my goodness, and Sting, and then now we're back to Mel Gibson. Alright, we have 170 days, 10 hours, 25 minutes, and 19 seconds. Alrighty then, now let's go on to the Extinction Protocol 2012. Yes, Max. Yes. Oh, I got something in my eye. I don't know. I'm sweating here. Can't have the air conditioner on, or you won't be able to hear anything. Alright, let's get on here. Uh-oh. Alrighty, here's today's news. Wow. Iran points 1,000 missiles at U.S. bases in the Middle East. There will be war and we will win, says Republican Guard. This is out of Tehran. Alrighty then. Don't we have enough? I mean, you're going to throw missiles out there. I mean, why are you going to pollute the rest of the world? We already have Fukushima going. The idiocy of it all. It's firing. See, it's used as a weapon. What's in the missiles? Radiation, right? Right? Nuclear stuff. Alrighty then. So why do we have nuclear plants all around us? Obviously it's toxic. No more nuclear plants, I think. Because you can't even figure out how to run them and how to stop them from having leaks. Okay, let's see if this will move down. I'm trying to scroll and it's not scrolling. Violent derecho storm. Okay. Let's move up. Nothing but problems for some reason. Violent derecho storm ravaged eastern U.S., leaving 13 dead and 2 million without power. And this is out of Virginia today. Wow. Heads up. Bad storm in Virginia. Okay. That happened today. Well, we're moving real slow on this internet. I might have to just stop and that might be it. Because it's just not scrolling or anything. Yeah, we're going to do that. Maybe we can't. Fire in the sky. Strange derecho storm in Virginia. Wow. Ireland experienced its wettest June on record. And that's out of Ireland today. And what is that? Assumption Parish, Louisiana. Bubbling in the water. Oh. Not good. Mysterious bubbles in the bayou. And and the ground is shifting. Mystery sound felt and heard in all corners of San Diego County leaves experts puzzle. I already gave news on that last night, so you're ahead of the game. Let's go into the E&E news. Let's close this, because for some reason it's just not wanting to obey the mouse commands. Let's try this one. Max, why are you on the coffee table, please? Get down, honey. Let's go sit in the window. I'll turn the air on in a few minutes. Yes. Okay, let's go into Fukushima. Anything today? Let's see. Japan resident. News blackout, a massive protest. This is not normal. What is happening? Heads up. Temperature at number 4 pool rising nearly twice as fast as rate reported by TEPCO. Why do you listen to anything from TEPCO? You need a third party in there, and you got to shut it down. Get it done. WSJ. Temperature rising at number 4 fuel pool safety limit to be exceeded Tuesday morning. I believe it's already been breached. I don't need to see any questions. I'm telling you right now. Let's pretend. Let's take the worst case scenario. Let's pretend it's already happened. You know, better to be do it early than a day late and a dime short. That's how it is. You better take care of it now. I'm looking. I think our skies are getting a little cloudy in the Space Coast out here in Florida. Again, WSJ. Temperature rising at number 4 fuel pool safety limit to exceed Tuesday morning with a question mark. No, it's probably already exceeded. They showed them knocking it down. You yourself, look on my channel, you can see they were demoing it. They were doing something with it. They're pulling it apart, and steam and everything else is coming out of it. Oh no. Oh no. You know, it's time to start taking evasive action. That's what I say. Preppers, start doing your prep thing. I mean, we got to go in. Okay, let's just pretend it happened. Now, implement whatever your plan was to get out of the way. Or are you really going to wait till Tuesday? What time? Tuesday at 2 a.m.? Tuesday at 2 a.m.? What time? Because remember, that would be our Monday night. Would be their Tuesday. Alright? So let's say you have 48 hours. Are you going to sit there and wait for the radiation to come and they tell you it's too late like they did to the people over there? And that you should have been taking iodine? And that you should have been taking zeolite? Max, please, honey, stop. You went for a walk. Stop. We just got back from a walk during the Dr. DEAGLE show. Okay, Kyoto. TEPCO to try and get number 4 fuel pool cooling system running again Sunday. What cooling system? It's all destroyed over there, isn't it? TEPCO to do nothing. You can't listen to one thing TEPCO says. And when they say try, that leaves in there that they might not be able to. So they're going to try, even though sometimes they take the weekend off. TEPCO unable to activate backup cooling system at number 4 fuel pool. Oh, well, heads up. See, and this is earlier than trying to get the running system again on Sunday. This is unable to activate backup cooling system at number 4 fuel pool. Isn't it after 90 minutes? Am I wrong? Didn't they once say after 90 minutes they start going into a criticality? You're starting to go into fusion at 90 minutes. Am I wrong? Someone research that for me and put it in the comments. Unable to activate backup cooling system at number 4 fuel pool. Okay, they made the announcement. It's time to head out, man. It's time to head out. You gotta go east, you gotta go south. That's all I have to say. Go into the southern hemisphere if you can. That will get affected by the radiation, but not as bad, and it won't, and not as fast. So, southern hemisphere, I guess below Ecuador. Ecuador's right on the equator. You don't want to be at high altitude because the radiation's going up there into the, upper atmosphere. You want to go, and then you got to stay low. Max, did the fuel pool number 4 go? Is it time to go? Where are we going? Someone wants to send me some plane tickets. It would be just myself and 4 pets and 1 fish. Now we're down to, it's like Noah's Ark. It's like 2 cats, 2 dogs, and I actually could take 2 fish with me. One's one of those pretty betas. I might show you him one day. He's in a giant aquarium. He's in a mansion instead of the little cup. I saved him. But, yep. I'm willing to go to the southern hemisphere. I did go on a job interview today. Hopefully I'll get it. Ooh, I'm praying about it. But, is that really going to matter? How long is that going to last? So, yeah, heads up. If anyone would like to send me a plane ticket, and then somehow if they can come too, they can go, I got 1, 2, 3, 4. We can put them in carriers, and they can go with me, I guess. Ship them, because they're coming with me. Unless the limousine's going to pull up, or a private jet comes, and I can go on that. That would be nice. Heads up. And John Travolta's out here somewhere in Central Florida. Maybe he'll be watching this. Or Tom Cruise. He used to have a boat right by my boat in Marina Del Rey. He'd come up on his motorcycle. I heard he's single now. So Tom Cruise, you're single. If you're single, so whoever signal, just bring, go ahead and bring your Learjet, or bring whatever, and that'd be better, a private jet, because that way I don't have to irradiate my pets going through security, and irradiate myself. So, alrighty then. Send the tickets, I'll go. I think we all need to go now, if that's at all possible. I could be the ruler of a small country. If anyone out there needs a queen to run their country, who's lived almost every type of aspect in life, so I know what the little guy has to do, There's no real difference. I mean, I've been from security guard to having money, being administrator, whatever. But I've lived the low end of life, and then basically the upper middle class of life. So, but at least I know what it's like to be totally broke, and can respect and be humble about it. Alright? I know where you're coming from. So, alrighty then. But yes, I'm royalty. In my own special way, I am royalty. I am Lady Diana Marks. I guess because my father was knighted. I don't know. But, alrighty then. It'll be fine. Just if you need a queen in a small little neutral country, I'm there. Just come and send the plane for me. Because obviously they don't want me as any other thing over here. Okay, let's see here. Asashi. Even Prime Minister startled by size of protest. It is such a huge sound. Also, Kyoto number 4, spent fuel pools cooling system stopped after alarm sounds. TEPCO, leakage of water with radioactive materials has not been confirmed. Whatever TEPCO says, it's like they'll try, it's not confirmed. They don't have any information, it's delay, deny, delay. Their heads are up their butts. That's a nice term. I have a different word, it starts with an A, but their heads are up their butts. Or their bums. Their heads up their bums. Heads up! They're terrible. Don't ever put what TEPCO says. It doesn't matter. We want to know what real scientists say, and maybe a government official or two, but not really, because they lie also. They've been lying. So, that's it. Let's check and see if there's anything for, sorry to ramble on, but everything Dr. DEAGLE said, I told you before he even did his report. So you think about that one. He said head south. And protect yourself with your Nutridyne and everything else. You know, iodine. Gunderson, I've been told by people in the State Department that U.S. government said to downplay health effects of radiation, so I think we're really gone out of our way not to measure. At least I'm telling you. With the Masters of Health Administration, I was going to be a chiropractor. 2 master degrees. Was a pharmacy technician. Went to school forever, but I also lived life. I didn't just stay in school. I kept going to school and kept working 2, 3 different jobs. Okay? So, I'm going to tell you. Because I have the degree that I can tell you. I have the Masters of Science. I guess that makes me a scientist. I'm going to tell you right now. It's my opinion that if number fuel pool heats up much more, and the way in their past, the information we have received before, which is usually goes back and forth, doesn't say anything. It doesn't really give you real hard numbers, information, stats. It doesn't tell you anything. So this figure, we will not know the information. Whatever's coming out of their mouths is either days late, even up to a year late, and months late. So it is my suggestion that those who are not in the southern hemisphere start heading south. It's just my opinion. And I guess I'm allowed my opinion. Hey, with my background, yes, please, if you could, head south. Make sure at least you have radiation protocols. Dr. DEAGLE has excellent ones. Check those out. See what you can do. See what you can get and start taking them. Okay? In the meanwhile, you got the debris coming in on the west coast. You got this fuel pool number 4. You're still waiting on like some major earthquake. I mean, and with that you might have a tsunami. So you got to start outweighing. You know, weigh it. Would you be better off somewhere else? What do you think? Or do you like to tempt fate? If you're a lotto winner, how lucky are you at winning the lotto? Well, if you haven't won the lotto, then you're probably not going to be so lucky with the decision of staying there. That's how I look at it. Alrighty then? If you're not so, you know, if you don't have that luck, now you can pray. It's important to be religious. And you could be, just because you're religious That doesn't mean if you jump off the bridge that you're not gonna get hurt. That doesn't mean if you stand on the train tracks, that doesn't mean you're not going to get hurt because of your religion. I'm trying to tell you that if you're hearing the inner voice, the Holy Spirit telling you, maybe I should go, then you better go and not wait. You gotta go with your gut feeling, you gotta go with your intuition now. Because obviously the information that has been out there since March 11th, 2011, the information has been tainted. It's a lot of the figures are falsified. It's false information. They even said so. It's wrong information. The readings are wrong. Can you get the hint? So, I would prepare, especially if you're not working or something and you don't have anything and you lost everything. What else is there to lose, other than your health? You don't have your health, you don't have anything, basically. You understand what I'm saying? You have God, yes, but if you don't have your health, this is what free will is. You understand what free will is? You have a choice. You can jump out of a moving car and get hurt, or you can keep your safety belt on. Every one of you has that choice. You realize that, right? You can jump out of a moving car, or you can wear your safety belt. You can speed down the freeway on your motorcycle and not wear a helmet, or you can speed down the freeway with a helmet and really not speed, go slow, go on a side street, not even be on the freeway. That is called free will. Alright? So you right now have the free will to decide to get out of the way of Fukushima, you and your family. Get out of the way of the radiation in the air, the ocean, the food, and the debris that is coming in. That is your free will. So you pick it wisely. Alrighty then? That's the only way I can get through to you. You have a wonderful evening, and I guess I will talk to you again tomorrow. Unless somebody sends out their private jet, and even then I'll still broadcast. I could be a millionaire, billionaire. I love giving you guys the news and giving you some consulting, my free consulting. Give you my Diana theories on what's really going on. Alrighty, then you take care. And we have one more day before the weekend's over. This is Saturday, so it's basically one day down. One more to go. And remember, there's only 30 days in June. So tomorrow is rent day. Please remember, tomorrow is rent day. Hello? Hello? Alrighty then, you have a wonderful evening.